Rolling with the triple C, I'ma make them bend the knee. Rolling with the triple C, don't really count the heat.
So guys, we have a new middleweight champion of the world, and Dricus Du Plessis. Israel Adesanya is calling him out. You know, he's decided to not fight for the next, he was talking about 2027 making his comeback. But guess what, guys? Now Israel Adesanya could maybe take a hike. You know why? Because there is a better matchup for a guy like Du Plessis. And Du Plessis, I hope you are listening to this because you have an opportunity to become champ. Yep, that's right. I'm talking about you fighting Alex Pereira. I mean, if I literally had to pick, okay, there is a storyline with Israel Adesanya, right? There is this, like, you're not African, because you're not black, you're not the real African. But now Israel Adesanya is actually giving him some props, saying that he's happy for him. He's happy for the story. He's happy, congratulations. You're the fourth African to become a UFC champion. Because we got to remember, the first one was Kamaru Usman. Then it was Israel Adesanya. Then it was Francis Ngannou. And then now it's the one from South Africa, Dricus Du Plessis. But guess what, man? You know what's super cool, guys, about becoming champion of the UFC? Is now you have leverage. It's not always 100% where the UFC actually has leverage. It's not. When you have the belt, you have the opportunity to say, okay, what is it that I actually want to fight? Because remember, before you get stripped, you have X amount of time before you actually do that. You don't have to abide with the UFC as much as you think you want to, or as much as you think you actually have to. What am I trying to say here, ladies and gentlemen? I say you make Israel Adesanya take a break. Take a hike. I say you make Israel Adesanya maybe fight somebody before he actually fights you, and actually take the fight that really matters more for your accolades, and his name is Alex Pereira. Two, the other thing that I'm going to have to say too, Dricus Du Plessis, is Alex Pereira is a really big middleweight. That the fact that he went up to light heavyweight and still looks bigger than all those dudes as well. But that being said, him coming down to 185 pounds once again, and if you get a victory over a guy like Alex Pereira, you know what that guarantees you? That guarantees you a title shot at 205 pounds. Why do I say that? Why do I say pick Alex Pereira? You know why? Because Israel Adesanya will always be there. Alex Pereira, who knows, man? He goes up against an Ankalaev. I'm not sure if he could beat an Ankalaev. And I'm not sure if you go up and you fight a guy who is well-rounded like Ankalaev, that you could get a victory over a guy like that. I say you skip Israel Adesanya, and I say for that reason, you go with Alex Pereira. Let him come down. If he's talking about going back down one more time at 185 pounds, you welcome him. You welcome him, because once you get that victory, you know what that does to you, Dricus Du Plessis? That allows you to go up and challenge the guy at 205 pounds. Guys, that's happened to me. The first time when I beat Demetrius Johnson didn't want to fight TJ Dillashaw. You know what I did? I stole that storyline. I called out the winner of TJ Dillashaw and Cody Garbrandt right after I won. It was the most important speech, is what is it that you say after you win? I knew that I had to literally say something before something kind of somewhat came about. So when I proclaimed that I want the winner at 135 pounds, that the UFC, because Demetrius Johnson didn't want to fight him, that they're already thinking of making this fight happen. Think about it. Demetrius Johnson had 11 title defenses. 11 title defenses. But when you're able to build that storyline, when you're able to make it happen as soon right after a fight, that's where I was guaranteed, TJ Dillashaw to eventually come down. It was my first option was for me to go up. But then I thought about it. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to be able to catch this guy twice. Let's bring him down. Let's deplete him. Let's beat him up at 125 pounds, which I did, to eventually then go up and then go after his title. So, Dricus Du Plessis, I don't know you. I like you. I was going for you. But if I'm in your position right now, you know what I do to Israel Adesanya? It's like, Israel Adesanya, take a hike. Wait for me until 2027, like you said you wanted to retire. bring out Alex Pereira. Allow me to beat up the face of the UFC. And, and it guarantees you, Dricus Du Plessis, another title shot at 205 pounds, because your wrestling is going to overwhelm him unless you allow him to kick you, which I don't think you will. And plus you have kicks of your own too, Alpha Southpaw. I've been watching you for a minute. So that being said, there's two guys, Alex Pereira, Israel Adesanya. This guy could wait. This guy will always be there. And this guy right here, Alex Pereira, is not only going to be an easier fight because he's going to cut all this crazy weight, but it guarantees you a title shot if you beat him at 185 pounds at 205. It's a no-brainer, man. If Alex Pereira wants to play that game, Alex Pereira has been talking about, 85. He's been talking about fighting Ankalaev and then going after Jamal Hill. And then he's talking about Tam Aspinall and then being a heavyweight. Well, you know what you should do? Bring him down. Make him cut all that weight. Have that opportunity, because guess what? Once you beat the champion at 205 pounds, you know what the UFC is going to do, Dricus Du Plessis? They're gonna make you guys fight again, because they don't want the smaller guy beating up on the bigger guy. So for that reason, you're gonna be guaranteed a title shot right away at 205 pounds. What you got for me, Joe?
You mentioned two storylines for DDP, Izzy and Alex. Michael Bisping actually mentioned a third option, who is the right option is Cannonier.
No,
like he's the rightful. Contender. What do you think?
No. I mean, I like Cannonier. I've broken bread with him, dude. We go to the same physical therapist, but Cannonier is just not a sell, dude. Unfortunately, he's a hell of a fighter. He's more of a dangerous fight than both Israel Adesanya and Alex Pereira. But why? Stylistically, this guy could defend takedowns. This guy could strike. This guy is more well-rounded. You know what I'm saying? Like. Cannonier is just a bigger dude. He's a tougher dude. I mean, he was able to beat a guy like Sean Strickland decisively and beat a lot of these guys, and has gone to the distance with a guy like Israel Adesanya. But styles make fights. That's the last person you want to fight. And I guarantee you that's the last person that's probably on Dricus's mind. So for that reason, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, we literally have to go back and think, what can get this man accolades? Who is it that can make him a double champ? Because I tell you what, there's a lot of double champs. I want to say there's 9 double champs, but there's only 3 in the men's division that have been simultaneous double champs. Conor McGregor, Daniel Cormier, and yours truly, the Triple C. Put yourself in a mountain that nobody is allowed to come in. You could always go back down to 185 pounds and continue to keep defending it. But as of right now, because of the story and how is it that Alex Pereira has skipped the line at 85 and has skipped the majority of the line at 205, you have an opportunity to fight somebody who's not that experienced with the toughest competition. Obviously, he has fought Israel Adesanya. He has fought, a Strickland, but I'm talking about somebody who is well-rounded, somebody who mixes it, somebody who relies on wrestling, somebody who relies on all these different tricks. His name is Alex Pereira, man. And you got to go back and you got to think of legacy. You got to think of you separating yourself from the pack. The money fight with a guy like Israel Adesanya will always be there. I say you book it. I say you book Dricus Du Plessis versus Alex Pereira, main event at UFC 300.